So I'm Nathan with Tallgrass TV. We are here with Don Scime with the David Dance. So if you'd like, just tell us what the film is about.
It's about a brother and a sister. The brother is gay, and they both live in Buffalo, and he's the host of this radio show called Gay Talk. And the sister is single, and she asks the brother, she decides that she wants to adopt this kid in Brazil, and she asks the brother to help out. And it's about him figuring out what he wants to do in his life, and there are flashbacks, and it's really about him figuring out what's next and how that happens and how he gets to where he's going.
Okay, excellent. And what was your role in the film?
I played David. I wrote it and I produced it, and it was directed by a woman named April Winnie, and she is also currently directing a television show called The Fosters, which is on ABC Family, and she lives in LA, which is why she couldn't be here. So.
Okay. Well, we've had a number of filmmakers that both acted and wrote or directed their own films as well. Do you find that to be more challenging than just one of the dedicated roles, or is it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to have a director on the project to, really make sure, that I turn in the performance that I'm supposed to be turning in.
Sure.
I mean, it's really good to have somebody, as many eyes on the project as possible. It was really very much a collaborative process, and I really enjoy that. I'd like to have, as many eyes on it and different opinions as possible. So.
Okay. So what was the genesis of the film? How did it first begin?
It originally was a play. It was at the New York International Fringe Festival quite a while ago, about 10 years ago. And people told me that I should adapt it into a screenplay, and so that's what I did.
What was the most challenging moment, either pre-production or during production?
Actually, one of the characters who is the lead in the film, he had 2 weeks before we started shooting, he told us that he was diagnosed with cancer, and we weren't really sure, how serious it was, but anyhow, he did the shoot, and about a year later, I'm afraid he passed away. His name was Guy Atkins, and he plays my boyfriend in the film.
So what was the most important lesson you learned from the project?
I think on my next feature, I would definitely try to do things a little faster. We were like 4 years in post-production, which is quite a long for a feature. And a lot of that is financial. Also, there were special effects things that we had to get done, and that we weren't expecting. And so I don't think we were quite prepared for that financially, and just how to, work everything out. But you know what? I'm really happy because I feel like I have the movie that I saw, that I envisioned, and for my director as well, I'm really proud of what we have. So in that respect, taking the time maybe wasn't such a bad idea.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, along post-production, how long was the principal photography?
We shot for 21 days.
Okay, so solid?
Yes.
Breaks, all right.
There was like 1 day off per week.
Yeah. So what was your favorite moment during production?
There's a moment where I'm lying on the couch, and there's a cat in the film, and my director had to sort of toss the cat onto me as I'm lying on the couch. And as you probably know, working with live animals, you never know what they're going to do. So I like the way that moment looks in the film, but I also appreciate how much work it took to I appreciate how much work the whole film, but I just know from that particular moment.
Okay, what are some filmmakers that have inspired you as a filmmaker?
I really like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I like anything that really has an emotional core to it. I like stories about families. I love Ordinary People. That's probably one of my all-time favorite films ever, just because it's really so simple, and it's really just about the relationships, and those are the stories that I really connect to.
Since it is easier now to get a hold of cameras and make a movie, it's easier now than it ever has been, what do you think a movie needs to have in order to stand out?
I think a good story, and that's what, like I said, make sure that story is really connected to you personally, and that it's that you really dig deep into the story. You know, I mean, this is like a really character-driven story. I mean, you really figure out like why. Like there's a lot of flashbacks in the film, and each flashback is sort of like a key to what the character should be doing next in his life. It's sort of like he's growing from each memory, so that's kind of why that's in there. Yeah, so making it personal and just make sure that you have a really great story to tell. You know.
So what's next?
I'm working on a screenplay. Well, I've finished it and I'm like polishing it now. It's called The Harp Sisters. It's about a gay man who lives with a black woman who plays the harp, and they both kind of struggle in New York City, and they're no longer not so young anymore, and it's about them figuring out why they do what they still do, you know, particularly at their ages or whatever, you know, and what keeps them going, really.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.